Come on, Chiefs! You won't believe what Chiefs fans are talking about this week. It's not just the usual draft or contract talk. It's names like George Pickens, Micah Parsons, and yes, even Tyreek Hill being thrown into the mix again. And we're not talking fantasy football here. These are real conversations, real possibilities circulating in Chiefs realm right now. And we've got the inside scoop straight from this week's mailing list segment with Tyler Jones. So if you're thinking this is just another offseason update, think again. You're going to want to stick around for all of this because it could reshape the core of the Kansas City Chiefs roster going forward. But first, make sure you've hit the like button if you've been a Chiefs fan for 20 plus years. It's great to see fans of all ages. If you believe we're going to the Super Bowl, text this, "Go Chiefs!" My heart is yours. Let's start with safety Brian Cook. He started all 17 games last season, recording 78 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 5 pass breakups, and that's not counting his 2 fumble recoveries the year before. While no one is calling him a future Hall of Famer, Tyler Jones made it clear, Cook is solid. And in this salary cap era, that's gold. He's reliable, he's improving, and this is key, you won't have to spend a lot to bring him back. With Justin Reid now in New Orleans, Cook steps in as the veteran presence. Spags likes him, and the Chiefs need that kind of stability in the secondary. It's not about chasing superstars at every position. It's about getting the most value out of guys who do their jobs and do them well. For Cook, it seems like a return to Kansas City is more than likely. It's practical. Now, brace yourselves, because this next name might trigger some nostalgia. Tyreek Hill. Yes, that Tyreek. Talk of impossibly leaving Miami is picking up again, and it's no secret that Hill hasn't exactly hidden his dissatisfaction with the Dolphins. Here's where it gets interesting. Hill's base salary this year? Just $10 million. That's manageable if, and it's a big if, you can creatively restructure that contract. The Chiefs would need to work some magic to get him back under the cap, but we've seen Brett Veach work miracles before. Of course, the real question is whether Miami would want to help the Chiefs improve. Tyler made a solid point. Would an AFC rival really want to strengthen the defending champions? Especially with teams like the Bills and Bengals reportedly avoiding deals with Kansas City already. Still, the idea of Hill reuniting with Mahomes? That's the kind of thing that lights up comment sections and fan forums for weeks. But if you think that's wild, let's talk about Micah Parsons. Yes, the Micah Parsons, one of the most dominant defensive forces in the NFL today. The guy racks up 12-plus sacks every year, a true disruptor in every sense. So, should the Chiefs consider trading for him? Tyler doesn't think so. Not because of talent, Parsons is a beast, but because the price tag is simply too high. We're talking multiple high draft picks, plus a massive extension on the horizon. That kind of move could drain resources the Chiefs would need elsewhere, and while Parsons might improve the defense, the opportunity cost could outweigh the benefit. Tyler put it bluntly, I think it's a no from me. And honestly, he's not wrong. Sometimes, the smartest move is the one you don't make. But it's not just defense that's under the microscope. There's been speculation about George Pickens being shopped by the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's had a strong start to his career, but there are big red flags. Tyler didn't hold back. Pickens has a reputation. Words like diva and headache came up, and while the Chiefs have done well managing big personalities in the past, it raises questions about whether Andy Reid would even want to bring in that kind of energy. Not to mention, the Steelers have a solid track record of knowing exactly when to move on from receivers. Think Antonio Brown, Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, all big names that fizzled after leaving Pittsburgh. That's not a great omen. Tyler's verdict? It's a no for me. If the Chiefs want to trade for a wide receiver, there are cleaner, more reliable options out there. And speaking of wide receivers, let's not forget about the offensive line. Jalen Moore is one name that came up, with some wondering if he could be the long-term answer at right tackle once Jawan Taylor's contract ends. But Tyler sees Moore's potential differently. He wants him at left tackle. That's the more critical position, and if Moore can replicate the form he showed in San Francisco, filling in for Trent Williams, he could be the future anchor on Mahomes' blind side. If he struggles, sure, you could move him to the right, but ideally, he becomes the guy on the left. That's the plan, anyway. Draft strategy also came up, specifically whether the Chiefs might trade out of the first round if the board doesn't fall their way. Tyler confirmed it's a real possibility. It all depends on how things shake out when the picks start coming in. If the board breaks early, the Chiefs might move up. If the value isn't there, trading down becomes an option. Brett Veach is known for playing the board like a chess master, so expect some fireworks either way. Oh, and before we wrap up, there's even been talk about targeting Charles Grant, a 6 feet 4 inches, 300-pound offensive tackle out of William and Mary. He's raw, sure, but intriguing. There would be a steep learning curve jumping to the NFL level, but he's the kind of project player that could turn into something special with the right coaching. And let's be honest, this coaching staff has worked wonders with less. So there you have it. Brian Cook's return, Tyreek Hill rumors, a no-go on Micah Parsons, skepticism about George Pickens, Jalen Moore's possible promotion, draft trade scenarios, and even a small school sleeper to watch. The offseason might be long, but one thing's for sure, there's no shortage of drama and decisions ahead for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now it's your turn, Chiefs Kingdom. What do you think about Brian Cook? Should he be back in red and gold next season? Could you imagine Tyreek Hill in Arrowhead again? And what's your take on Micah Parsons or George Pickens? Worth the risk or too much baggage? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let us know which move you think Brett Veach should make next. Let's talk about it. And while we're at it, let's dig deeper into this wide receiver situation, because that's clearly where a lot of Chiefs Kingdom has its eyes right now. The rumors are flying, and after a season where wide receiver consistency was a real issue, even with Rashee Rice breaking out, the pressure is on to build a more explosive, more reliable group around Patrick Mahomes. Tyler Jones made something very clear in the mailbag. He believes the Chiefs are still in the market for a veteran receiver, and it's not just about depth. It's about a guy who can come in and deliver big moments right away. That's why names like Mike Evans came up earlier in the offseason. And while he re-signed with Tampa, it shows you the caliber of player Kansas City was looking at. The front office is well aware that Mahomes needs more than just speed. He needs someone he can trust on third down, someone who knows how to run a route, read a defense, and make the tough catch. Now, yes, there's belief in young guys like Rashee Rice and the newly acquired Marquise Hollywood Brown. Rice showed real promise, especially late in the season and during the playoffs. He's tough, has good hands, and more importantly, he earned Mahomes' trust. That's not something you just hand out. And Hollywood Brown? He adds speed, veteran savvy, and a history of creating separation. But even with those two, there's room for more, especially considering how injury-prone Brown has been throughout his career. The Chiefs aren't looking for just another body, they want someone who can be a difference maker. But here's the catch, they're not going to overpay for it. Tyler pointed out how Brett Veach plays the long game. He's not going to give up valuable draft capital or cap space for a short-term rental unless that rental moves the needle. That's why names like George Pickens don't excite the front office. Talent aside, the personality risks don't align with the Chiefs' culture. And if there's one thing Andy Reid and Veach protect above all else, it's the locker room.